Moderation, I don't know. Ready? I put it close. Oh, that's just a note, bro. We good.
Oh, okay.
You just live. It's like you requested.
Okay, alright. Shalom Akim. Of course, we're going to start by saying all praise goes to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and millstone towards this truth, rule well. And salutations to Akim did pushing this word, to say me honestly, all for elect Shalom. Through the Spirit, we back at it again. And tonight we're going to do through the Spirit, we're going to do a breakdown, Revelation 12 chapter. So with that, we could begin.
All right, this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. And it says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet."
Right, that woman is going into Israel. All right, the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, that woman's going in, is talking about the Israelites. Right.
This is Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 2. It says, "I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman."
That's right. So the Lord would liken Zion, Israel, you compare it to women. Okay. And that was just a quick precept to, sometimes you gotta bring out the precepts. So, is there more on that? That was it, all right.
Right? So it says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet."
And the sun and the moon is going into the understanding, the wisdom and the knowledge and understanding of the scriptures. All right? Because who was the understanding given to? It's given to Israel.
That's the scripture for that.
That's Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 8:1. Who is as the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed.
And there you go, man. Okay? That's shining. Right? Shine like how the sun shines, like how the moon shines, the moon illuminates the skies. That's why you got Esau, he call himself the Illuminati or the illuminated ones because they think they have all the knowledge. Okay?
Yeah, I got a precept for that too.
Come on.
Psalm 147, verse 19. It says, He showeth his word unto Jacob, and his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua.
That's right, man. So that the moon and the sun is going into the nation of Israel. The Lord only gave this understanding to his people, not these other nations.
Yeah. Quick precept. This is Deuteronomy 4, verse 5. It says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power commanded me, and ye should go do so in the land whither you go to possess it." It says, "Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all the statutes and say, surely that this great nation is a wise and understanding people." And yeah, man, that's what separates, Israel, all right, from all the other nations, man. All right, these laws, statutes, and commandments, all right, we're giving unto the Israelites, man. That separates us from all these other, heathen nations, right?
Yeah, we're going to get going.
All right.
Yeah, keep going.
It says, "And the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars."
Right, and we know that the 12 stars, again, is talking about Israel. So you understand this woman really is a representation of Israel. You have a precept on the 12 stars?
I got it.
Okay.
This is Genesis 37, verse 9. it says, and he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said,
That's Joseph, by the way, right? Joseph had that dream, right?
Right. It says, and told it his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance unto me.
Right, the 11 stars going into his brothers at that time. Okay, made obedience unto him because Joseph was sent to captivity in Egypt, in which he ended up being a ruler in Egypt. In time of famine, his brothers, along with his father, had to go down to Egypt for food, and they bowed down to Joseph, not knowing it was Joseph. But then he revealed himself to him, and everyone's, it was a moment, but the prophecy still came to pass. All right.
Yeah, that's it. These are the patriarchs of the seed of Israel.
Alright. So verse 2, and it says, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
Right. She being with child cried because, like we just expounded on, the woman being Israel. Okay, and who were we giving birth to? Who was Israel giving birth to? Yahushua, because Yahushua sprang out of Judah. Okay, huh?
And it's also talking about when was it when Israel was in under Roman captivity or the violence upon us. That's what it's talking about.
Yeah.
And it says, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Right, that great dragon is talking about the Roman Empire.
Like, if you,
Kind of.
what you want first?
The great red dragon with 10. It says, like, read it again.
It says, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
7 heads is going into today will be NATO and the EU, all right, which also goes back into the ancient Roman Empire. Which one do you have there?
I got Gemma Major, Rome, France, Spain, Spanish, Gemma Minor, British, and the Greeks.
So
That's the 7 heads.
The 7 heads, NATO, right?
And now NATO would be the 10 horns.
The
Yeah,
EU.
no, EU's 10 horns.
I got
Oh, yeah.
Also, you want the 10 ones on?
Yeah.
Alright. Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Spain, and Portugal, England, and Ireland, and West Germany. That's it.
And also, the 7 heads represent 7 kingdoms, which was allied, was all under the umbrella of the Roman Empire.
That's right.
Okay. So it says, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. It says, and his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven.
The 3rd part, stars of heaven, is talking about the southern kingdom, all right, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, because at this time, by this time, the southern kingdom would be already
The northern kingdom.
Slack it, right? The northern kingdom would be already in what you call North America today, because they've been in captivity under the Assyrians prior to all of this going on, right? They've been taken away from Israel.
You can get it in 2nd Esdras?
Yeah, kind of.
Alright, this is 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 40. And it says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
Right, why are they carried prisoners? Because they disobeyed the Lord's commandment of the Heavenly Father, worshiping other gods, other idols, all right, these false idols. Okay, so the Lord said, you know what, I'm bringing up the king of Syria against you, right?
It says, whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right.
It says, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of heathens.
So the northern kingdom got together and said, yo man, we ain't gonna deal with these heathens no more. All right, we gonna go to a different land, and we gonna serve our God, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah. Right?
It says, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Where never mankind dwelt, and that will be what came to be known today as North America. So that cuts that whole thing of Esau discovering North America.
Right.
You know, it was discovered ultimately by the Israelites through Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Right.
It says that they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Right? And
Right, they might keep their statues, which they never kept in their own land, because our people were hard-headed, right? That's basically it. It was a little more.
The part about these river Euphrates.
No, that's the point. That's the
That's
point.
the
All
point.
right.
We go to another time.
All right. Okay. So where we at? Back in Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. Right? It says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven,
Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right?
and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered.
Right, and that dragon is going to an actual person, Herod the Great. All right, because he stood before that woman, Israel, right? But also, when you really go into it, that woman is talking about Mary.
And Herod was Herod Antipas the tetrarch. That means I'm a governor of one of 4 provinces. All right.
If I may say too, the tail also goes into the military might.
That's right.
All right, I got the precept for you. This is Matthew chapter 2. I started at verse 13. It says, and when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word.
Right. So Joseph received that dream on what to do regarding his wife and his son. Right, and he said, and the angel said, take Yahweh Shai and his wife and flee into take Mary and flee into Egypt. Right.
Amongst the dark nations.
Right, amongst the dark nations, right? The Egyptians are dark.
Right. It says, and when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
That's right, because which goes into that when we read Matthew's. That's Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What verse you at?
Verse 14.
Okay, go on.
When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son.
Right, because Yahweh Shai stayed in Egypt for a time while he was being hunted, right? But then after Herod died, that whole situation really died down. See, Herod wanted Yahweh Shai out because Herod, he knew the customs of the Jews and he was familiar with the prophecies, and he knew Yahweh Shai was a deliverer, or is the deliverer. So he decided to destroy Yahweh Shai. you know, which that failed, of course, was according to prophecies.
Right. It says, then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, in Ramah was their voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they were not.
That's right. Because why? Because the nation of Israel is being enslaved, man. You know, you're losing your 2-year-old, your 1-year-old son. You know, they're being enslaved. So that's a hard pill to swallow. You know, so we were being tormented at that time by the Roman army, or really by Herod.
That was
Okay.
All right, so it says, all right, number 4, right?
Where we at, 4?
Yeah.
All right.
Number 4, right? It
Right.
says, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
And that's Yahushua, to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And we know what the rod of iron is for, you know, is to bring down judgment. You know, it's not gonna be like we're gonna have the nations in order, and we're gonna this is your payment, this is your W-2. All right, you won't get a 401k. We ain't doing that, man. All right, it's gonna be either you gonna work, or you gonna take a quick visit to the spirit world and come back, make your mind up. You know, it's gonna be harsh, man. Why? Because that's how these nations dealt with us. So we gonna deal with them even double.
Yep. Got a precept?
I
I got a,
keep it away.
Yeah, appreciate it.
yeah.
You got her bringing down
All right, this is Psalms
real quick.
110, verse 1. It said, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. The Lord shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion, rule thou in the midst of thine enemies.
Right, so Yahshua's going to rulership, but then he's going to share that rulership with the nation of Israel. Romans 8 speaks about the Lord sharing his rulership with us. You can read that in your own time, though. We're going to keep on.
All right. So it says, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne.
Because Yahshua went up to sit on the right hand side of the Father.
Right.
And
And it says, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of the Most High.
So now it's going back to that nation, the nation of Israel, man. See, we fled into the wilderness during the time of the Roman prosecution. All right, the wilderness being Africa. You got a preacher going? You got something to bring up? All right,
bring out. This is the book From Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor, and we're gonna jump to page 84 and get right to the point. It says in the second paragraph, it says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
That's the Flavian dynasty.
Yep, that's where we get the Ark of Titus.
Yep, and then all of the wealth they took, they built that Roman Coliseum with a lot of that money. Also,
Right. It says, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter during the period of the military governors of Palestine. Many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
And then they flee into Africa, you know? And so Africa was like basically the spot to flee into,
Refuge.
a place of refuge, right? You know? That's why you got West Coast Africa and was it North?
North Africa. That's where we fled. We fled to the north and we fled into West Africa.
The water. And you know, that's where we was picked up from, and also into captivity. All right, we brought over into America.
Right. And I may say, we spend a great amount of time in West Africa.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you could look at an ancient map of West Africa. It'll say things like Fort Benjamin, Fort Judah, Fort Levi, because that's where the Israelite, the Southern Kingdom dwelt for a long time.
Yeah. That's why you see all those kids dancing now, all them dancers and singers talking about people in Africa. We got rhythm. Because you an Israelite, you know damn Hamite, you know. So you got it.
All right, and it says, and the woman fled into the wilderness where she had a place prepared of the Most High.
So the wilderness is Africa, right? And that place prepared is America, right?
That they should feed her there 1,203 score days.
Right, and that's basically going to a time period. You know, which we at the end of that time period. You know, right?
It says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
So yeah,
because which heaven? It's because there's three. You know, you got the spiritual realm, that's the third heaven, right? Then you got the universe, and then you have also rulership and under the ozone, right? That heaven. So it's talking about this Esau's heaven here. That's what that war is gonna be.
I got something for you, just to get straight to the point, a precept for that. This is Second Ezra, chapter 13, verse let me see here, get straight to the point. This is it says verse 8. Second Ezra 13 and 8, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he Revelation 13 and 8, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid.
Yeah, basically all the forces, NATO, EU, Russia, everyone else, they was fighting each other. In America, they're gonna all cease from fighting each other to try to fight the Lord. All right, their air forces, they're gonna bring out all their top toys to try to fight the Lord. They're scared, but that pride the Lord put on them, they're gonna fight even though they're scared. Go ahead.
They have the Space Force.
Yeah, the Space Force. all that junk they got up there.
Even now, America declared the outer space a weapon. You know, and why is that? Because they're preparing for what's upcoming. Like we just saw the
Star
picture.
Wars program.
Star Wars program. It's a military. It's actually a military now. But it's Space Force,
Mm-hmm.
right? And recently NASA showed a picture, which they mean to show. It was a picture of an angel.
Yeah.
You know, an angel out there in you know, doing what he doing out of space, man.
Because they know, I don't want to blabber, but what it was in the 50s or so, you had the chariots going over DC. All right, and so as soon as the Air Force goes to where the chariots is, that the chariots disappear. Then when the Air Force leave, chariots reappear, and it was an on and on game. The chariots was just toying with them, you know.
Yeah.
The angels was toying with them, and that was and they got photos of that, man. The 50s, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, you still call them Aryans and shit like that, man.
Yeah, photos.
They know exactly who it is. They know who it is, but they don't want to believe it is what it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading on. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand nor held sword.
Yeah, the Lord didn't have to hold any sword, press any buttons, anything. Basically, wherever the Lord wanted that fire, that concentrated fire to go, that's where it went. Cause the Lord gonna be standing on the main ship, and wherever He wants the fire to go, that's how the Lord gonna plead with all flesh, with fire. That's why it said, when it said that sword in His mouth. That's that's symbolic. That's what it's meaning. That's what the Lord is pleading with flesh, with fire. You know? Yeah, you got it.
Isaiah 6:16. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh.
Yeah, he's not talking. There's no explanation. That's how you're gonna plead with all flesh, with destruction, with concentrated fire, with His spirit on those thermonuclear missiles.
And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Yeah, it's gonna be many. So it's gonna be millions, maybe billions of people just put to death. And that Esau's military might, they're gonna be incinerated in the sky, man. That's it.
So what else you got?
I'm gonna show this last verse. It says, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath.
Yeah, that's concentrated fire, focused fire, lasers.
Out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests.
Sparks and tempests. So that would be considered a laser, high-tech laser, man.
Yeah. Right. So it says back in verse 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. And
If you want to speak on it, you want to speak on it?
Okay.
it said, I'm gonna read it again. It's Revelation 12, verse 7, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
All right. So the angels, the Esau's military and the world's military and their air force, they're gonna try to fight against the Lord's, against the angels and the Lord. All right.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be in the sky.
And that's why it's slacking. Slacking. That's why Esau, like we said earlier, they militarize out of space, and they also have advanced weapons. One thing they have is the railgun, which that is supposed to shoot pure energy. You know, so all these things are really done to develop the military force. No, kind of.
On the Space Force is on Wikipedia. It says the United States Space Force is a space service branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, one of the 8 U.S. uniformed service. The world, it says the one and only independent space force. It says in one in the world.
One on independent space force. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
But Esau knows his kingdom is out of here.
Yeah.
You got it, bro.
It's like he got
And that's what
Yep, you got it. Area 51, where they have there's no crash UFOs or none of that. All right, that's Esau with his secret spacecrafts that he been building and test flying, and also S4 base, another base they got that's not too far from Area 51. You got it.
And that's why Ronald Reagan, he made that statement. He said basically about forces in outer space. If there was forces in outer space, will we not come together and fight against it? So that's what that's eventually what they're gonna do when the Lord returns.
Yeah.
They're gonna stop fighting each other and they're gonna fight against the Lord.
Yep. Yeah.
Says, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not.
And add on real quick, that dragon's going into NATO and the EU. You're right, cause wow, they're in rulership, man. You know, so they're gonna want to fight to stay in rulership, and that's good because the Lord's gonna put the spirit on them to fight. I believe that's also in 2 Corinthians 13. We didn't get to it, but you could read yourself. You know, so they were scared. That you said scared in their fight. So the Lord's gonna put the spirit on these nations to fight him, man. Why? Because the Lord's gonna show his might. Okay, the deliverance out of Egypt, this second Egypt, all right, is gonna be greater than the deliverance out of the original Egypt. You know, the Lord's gonna showcase his might, man.
One realm shall fight against another, right?
So yeah.
Right? It says, and prevail not, neither was their place found anymore in
So
heaven.
they didn't prevail, so they didn't, they were slaughtered.
Yeah.
And their place wasn't found no more, their rulership no more on earth. That was it. That's their stronghold. The Lord just annihilated their forces.
Yep, that's right.
It says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world.
So Esau, NATO, the EU, America, just cast out of power.
Right?
And the top elites put in chains.
It says he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
That's right.
Right? It says, and I heard a loud voice.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels cast out with him. That's going to captivity. So you was cast out. You was out of your rulership. Now you scattered in the earth. But that don't mean you walking around free. You walking around in chains, all right? And you're gonna be walking around, completing your different tasks because you gotta build the kingdom. You know, you gotta build the kingdom up. So that's what you're gonna be doing. Besides that, your ass is gonna be in the pit. All right?
You just brought it down to the ground.
Okay, preach that real quick. Luke chapter 10, verse 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
You gonna go into it?
Yeah, you know, it's talking about the so-called white man, which is Esau, Edom. Okay, you know, they was empowered during the time of the Roman Empire, and they're empowered now. All right, and they're gonna fall from heaven, which is their rulership.
Precept on the slipper right here.
Wait, it's not good. What's the one?
That was it.
Genesis 3 verse 14. And it says, and the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou shalt be cursed above all cattle and above the beasts of the field. And upon the belly shall thou go, and the dust thou shalt eat all the days of thy life.
Yeah, so you know, serpents they don't eat dust. That's talking about confusion, right? And a serpent is a treacherous person, a malicious, treacherous person. That's what a serpent is, and we know that's Esau.
That's it.
And that dust, that's confusion.
And that Satan is talking about an actual man. All right, it's not it's not talking about a spiritual demon or a dragon. All right, a serpent or a snake or a leviathan. It's about an actual man. All right, we're going to the word Satan. And it was the Greek. It means what? Adversary. If I ain't saying, if I ain't find wrong.
Adversary.
Right? It means adversary, man. Or Slakia. Hold on. Satan in the Greek it means diabolos, which means slanderer.
Okay.
Literally one who throws something across the path of another. All right. Also devil. It says thou. It says though. It says plotter in one's used. All right. So Satan is a slanderer, man. Who's that slanderer? Esau, the so-called white man. And matter of fact, real quick, could you get what it says on? I said I believe in the Psalms, which speaks about slandering thy mother's son. All right. Real quick, so you just go into that real quick.
This is
Choose the right brother.
This is Psalm. I'm reading right here.
Psalms 50 and 20.
This is Psalms chapter 50, verse 20. Right, Psalms chapter 50, verse 20, and it says, "Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thy own mother's son."
Right, and who's Esau's brother? Jacob. Okay, and that'll be the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, right? And that'll be Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Starting with the elites, man. They slander us, okay, in the eyes of the people, okay, in the eyes of different nations, and in the eyes of the Most High, and the Son, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. That's why they'll do certain things, like they'll put pork. They'll cover a chicken in a pork in a wrapper made of pork. All right, and they'll say look at these people, they're eating pork. You know, but that's some of the ways they'll slander our name, man. Not only with the people, but with Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Keep going. Keep going.
And it says, he was cast. I'm on I'm 9 going on to 10, right?
Okay.
It says, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, "Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down."
Right. Well, that's the kingdom. That's the kingdom, right?
Which accused them before our power day and night.
And we're just going into that.
Right?
Right.
Verse 11. And it says, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony."
And that lamb is Yahweh Shah. And that blood is actually Yahweh Shah being crucified, man. For the nation of Israel. Right?
Right? It says, "And they loved not their lives unto the death."
And they love not their lives unto the death. Because first of all, we don't. The scriptures say what if you love this life, if you love this world, Shalakia. What's that? Matthew 10. I think 10:31, something like that.
He that love of his life?
Yeah.
He that loves his life shall lose it.
Right, exactly. Or he that loses life for my sake, shall find it. So in other words, we don't care about this life. And ultimately, what's gonna happen? We might have to die for this truth. Right. All right? Because when you look in the scriptures, that was the faith of the apostles, man. That was the faith of the men of the Lord, the prophets. Ultimately, they died serving the Lord. But the Lord said what? In your regeneration, You shall sit on 12 thrones, judging the nations.
Precept?
Come on.
Yeah, this is Matthew 10, verse 38. And it says, and he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it.
There you go, man. So we'll lose our life. We done lost our life. Ain't no, you know, not no glitz and glamour for us, man. Only this word, which is the real glitz and glamour. All right. So if you lose your life for the Lord's sake, we shall find it, because we find our lives spiritually. We're awake. We're awoken spiritually. All right.
It says, and they love not their lives unto the death.
Right. That's the elect. You know. So like the brother Shamar, you know, he had like a dream going into dying for the truth. You know, and that was, you know, that was a powerful lesson, which you had a lot of brothers that went into dreams for dying for this truth, man. You know, and you know what? That's the time we in right now.
Right. Verse 12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
Okay.
Right.
The earth and woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, right? That's the people.
Yeah.
It says, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
So he got a short time, so he's trying to get everything, his new world order, he's trying to speed things up. Because his rulership is almost out of here. And at the same time, he's trying to offset prophecy. All right? So he's trying to tie up loose ends.
It says, verse 13, and when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted a woman which brought forth a man-child.
To speak on that dragon right there is going back to Herod, man. When he saw he was cast before the earth because he didn't get to kill Yahushua. He didn't get to murder Yahushua. So he knew, according to the prophecies, that's the end of that. Okay, and what did he do? He ordered the mass execution of all the males 2 years and younger.
Which we already read that.
Right, we went to that already, right?
Right. It says, and to the woman,
and you know what too, Slakia, did that part of history is not written except for in the Bible. Some people would say it never happened, but if you go into the history of Herod, see, Herod was an Edomite. So he was the wicked man. You best believe Herod did a lot of wicked acts. So when you read this about Herod in the Bible, it wouldn't sound far-fetched. It wouldn't sound something he wouldn't do.
Because that's like they don't want that part of Roman history or whatever, or that type of history to be recorded.
Yep.
Because he had a good position, like one of 4 provinces, a governor of one.
Yeah.
Tetrarch means a governor of one of 4 provinces.
That's true.
You know.
Even like today, they'll say slavery never happened.
right. It says, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, and times and a half a time from the face of the serpent.
So that wilderness is going into Africa, because going back to the 70 AD, right, when Israel was sacked or seized by Romans under Vespasian. One second. Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. Right, our people ran from Israel, the northern kingdom, that is, and they ran to north and west coast of Africa. You got it?
They call that the diaspora.
Right.
Luke chapter 21, verse 20, it says, And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
So that was going to 70 AD. Okay, that happened back then under the Romans, right? And it's going to happen again in these times. You know, under the NATO and the EU, or the Americans, which is what the Roman Empire all over again, or a continuation of the Roman Empire.
Right. It says, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
So it said woe to you that have children. Give suck in those days. You had children because you had people eating their children, man. It was boiling them and eating them. Cannibalism.
Yeah, and that shows you how hard-headed Israel is, because they was told to leave the land of Israel, but they didn't listen. Just like now, we're telling you spiritually depart out of the ways of America, because this ain't your rest. All right. Well, what do our people do? They want to stay mentally, here in America. You know what I'm saying? They want to stay mentally with that American mindset, man, and keeping that mindset that this place gonna go on and on forever. But just to show you that Israel's hard-headed, man.
Keep going.
Right, and it says, where we at? It says, right, and the serpent, let me say, it says, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place,
Africa,
right?
Into a place going into America.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey. And it said nourished, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got our people, they got them the programs, Section 8, welfare, WIC, all of these things. That's why you have Esau here talk shit. He'll be like, yo, you got Section 8, you have that. That's Israel, getting those programs.
Yeah.
Section 8 housing, NYCHA, the projects. Social Security, all these things.
Food stamps.
EBT, healthcare. Yeah. Don't forget Health First, Health Plus, Medicaid, Medicare.
Medicare.
All right.
Let's see, that Hosea 1. I think I can get it real quick.
I'll give it for you.
That's how I saw it. All right, Hosea 1. The word of the Lord. Hosea, I think it's 11.
1 and 10.
1 and 10.
Right.
Alright, I thought it was 11. Hosea 1 and 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, that they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. And Slaki, maybe it's 10. Yeah, Slaki, right. It says, yet the number of children, Hosea 1 and 10, yet the number of children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. And that's it. That place is America. Right?
It says, where she's nourished for a time and times and a half, a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, and he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
That flood's going into the military.
I guess no.
Right.
This is Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. It says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the
Right,
enemy,
fear the Lord from the west, right? Because why? The truth came out first in the western hemisphere, right?
it says, when the enemy shall
Now
come,
read again, Bible shot, because we missed the part.
it says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west,
Right.
and his glory from the rising of the sun.
The east, because the Lord's gonna come back from the east, man. The Lord's gonna come with those in his glory with those angels. Right?
When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him.
Right, that flood. Because the enemies come in with that military force. All right? So that when they do that, basically they really do come throughout the whole world, but really they gonna come at the nation of Israel and really at the elect. You know, the Lord says he's gonna lift up a standard against them, and that standard is going into that spiritual powers. Okay, but just hitting the point was the flood. There's that military. So read that again.
It says, me?
Yeah.
All right. So it says, Revelation 12 and 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Okay.
And the earth held the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which a dragon cast out of his mouth.
Right. So we escaped into Africa. All right. The same way Joseph and Mary escaped.
I was talking about
And,
when they have the woman and stuff with the archaeologists. Archaeology proving that we were Israelites. That's what it's talking
That's
about.
dope.
Wow.
well, that was like, how you said?
We don't go into that no more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that was like the old breakdown. But now it's going into now you understand. Now it's going into how we escaped the military and we fled into Africa.
Yeah.
Right, the same way Joseph and Mary escaped the Roman prosecution back then with Yahweh Shai.
Right, verse 17, last verse. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach.
That's like read the part again.
Right, it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman.
Right, going back to Herod.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Going back to murdering the first and the 2 years and younger sons, right?
All right.
The remnant.
Right.
You understand my point?
No, I was gonna say, well, the remnant, it's also the elect. You know, we're the remnant. All right. So it goes on to say, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach.
Yeah, you're right.
So we the elect, and you know, persecution. These are the times we're living in. All right, brothers having all types of dreams and visions, and all right, we're at the end of this thing, and that's part of it, man. Hey, the devil coming down with great wrath because he has but a short time. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Is there more?
That was the last week. That was
That was
it.
the last one.
Yeah.
Hey, anything you want to say? Hey, so hey, Lord willing, the stuff was edifying. You know, anything you want to say out there?
Yeah, I hope it was edifying to your brothers, man.
Yeah, kind of. So you know, you kind of press the time, so we just kind of hit the fast forward button. But we want to say, oh, praise goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ba'akadash. Double honors the apostles, Elsewhere Millstone. Citations to Akhmat pushing the spirit, sincerity and honesty. And shalom to Akhmat also on the comment boards. And with that, shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.